I know I'm not the only mom who likes to hide away. Hey, it's Ereena George, and welcome to my closet, aka Mommy's Closet. Come on in. It's a place for us to get away and discuss the things moms love to talk about, whether it's health, relationships, these kids, our spouses. This is where we come to talk our shit. Be sure to join my Facebook group, Be Momific with Ereena George. It's where we can continue the conversation outside of this podcast so that I can hear what you think and how you feel on the topic. Hey everyone, thank you for joining this week. It's Ereena George. I am really excited about the show that we're having on this week. Now, I know you guys always think, I always say that I'm super excited and I'm really excited, and I am because I love doing this podcast and I love the guests that I have on the show. This week, we are going to be tackling a topic that I think for all moms across the board, even myself, like we need to learn when to take that break. So this week we're going to be speaking about when to take that much needed break. And that can be a break from your kids, your husband, like everyone. Like when do you just go on your own, go to the spa or go sit in your car and just take that much needed break? And to join us this week, we have on Tina Conroy. And this is going to be a very unique show because Tina specializes in kind of like crystals, chakra, and essential oils. So we're going to be talking about when you need to take that much needed break, but we're also going to be discussing how we can include crystals and chakra into taking that break. And maybe that will assist us not to need that break, right? So this is what we're going to be talking about today. So I have Tina Conroy on. If you can just come on and introduce yourself and tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Hey, Ereena, I'm so glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to talk about this topic. It's two of my favorite topics and just talking about taking care of ourselves in general. I am, and I host the Intuitive Woman podcast, and my company is The Intuitive Woman. And my passion is creating and facilitating and helping women to be empowered, to listen to their inner voice, and to use spiritual tools such as essential oils, Reiki, energy healing, using and tapping into their intuition, and also crystals to really give them that most purposeful, happiest life. And I really truly believe that it is our innate ability to find happiness and to find purpose and to carve out that time.
Yes, that is great. We all need it. And I know now there's so many movements with everyone trying to figure out their chakra and, how to heal their chakra and how to open up their chakra. So as a mom, right, when you're a mom and you have your children and you have your work and you may be an entrepreneur and trying to start your own business and you have so much going on, should we get to the point of feeling overwhelmed before we decide to take that break? Like, what does that do to our chakras when we allow ourselves to become overwhelmed?
Well, the chakra system, there's more than 7, but the main chakras that most people are speaking about are the main 7 chakras. And chakras are energy wheels. That's if you look them up or Google them, and there's even more complicated description of them. But the 7 main chakras hold energy centers in our body. And they are, it's not like if you open up the body, you're going to see a chakra, but they are energy centers. And each chakra connects to a emotional and physical part of the person, of the body, and of the person's makeup. And we begin with a chakra from 1 to 7. The first chakra starts with the base of the spine, and then it goes up to the crown of the head. And if you ever do an image, if you ever look it up again on the internet, it almost looks like there's dots on the body. But I do want to suggest to people that the chakras are not just these dots. They're 3-dimensional, and they are located up and down the central channel of the body. So that would be up and down the spine, from the base of the spine again to the crown of the head. Now, the interesting part is, chakras in general, there's so much more about, taking care of ourselves. But when we're not taking care of ourselves, when we are in a state of overwhelm or overstress, what happens is our chakras are out of balance. And one or some of them can be more out of balance than others. And that can connect to issues such as emotional issues. It can create anxiousness, overall stress, and just like a feeling of yuckiness, basically. When we can balance the chakras or work with balancing with self-care for ourselves, or maybe even working with a practitioner, we can have more ease in the body.
And that is what we're all looking for. We are definitely all looking for more ease in the body. So for a busy mom, what would you say to her, or how would you help her start to take what I believe should be a weekly chill down? I know now you can take a nightly bath, and I think that's great, if you want to get in the tub at night, but sometimes you don't have to do that. You may have just one day that you have to yourself where you can really, really take care of yourself. So if I was just starting out with relaxation and trying to figure out how I can take that to the next level, what would you kind of recommend, and where would you recommend that I start?
Well, I really recommend with a daily routine. I know a lot of people don't like to hear that, and they're going to say, I'm already a busy mom. What else can I put in my day? So it doesn't have to look the same every day, and it doesn't have to look very long. But to connect to something, to yourself, and to connect to that quiet time every day whenever you can. Now, we know we're very busy and we may not be able to get up an hour earlier than our children and our family, but there will be some point in the day to be carved out for you to take that time. So what I suggest is 5 minutes. I call it take 5. And it's my take 5 rule because you don't need more than 5 minutes. I mean, if you have more, go for it. But a lot of people, if we can just schedule in 5 minutes. And, now with cell phones and schedulers and things like that, I find if we actually write it down, if we put it somewhere and block the time, it will come up. We can even do it as a reminder. So I work a lot with busy moms and busy women in general, and I'll work with them and say, put it on your phone, put it on a timer, put it, somewhere in your calendar and remind you, and just put, take 5 time. But if we don't have that put in the day, it's difficult for us to even, we're going to forget about it. We're not going to do it.
Yes, you are absolutely right. I know that's something that I do all the time. And I'm like, I'm going to, kind of take a relaxation. I'm going to take a bath today. And I never get to it because I'm so busy and, the kids always need you. But I think it's really important for us to kind of say, to say to ourselves, I need this. And as moms, we always kind of go to the selfish part and say, you know what, I can't do this. I'm being selfish. The kids need me. Everyone needs me. But your body needs you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of my 2 favorite phrases are self-care is not selfish. That's one of my favorite ones. And then my second one is you can't drink from an empty cup. And it's so important now more than any time. There's so many pressure, especially on us, especially as moms and busy moms, that we put so much pressure on ourselves to be, to do, to go, do so much. But if we don't take care of ourselves, we truly don't have the ability to take care of someone else. And if we can just understand that that is not selfish, it is truly, truly self-care. And then, and again, we're only talking 5 minutes. So I don't even begin with a whole ritual. And if down the road that works for people, that's awesome. But just start really slow, start out really tiny, really baby steps. I feel that if we can start with baby steps, then it can grow to a practice. But first there has to be a few things. And I think the steps would look something like this. 1, you have to want it. 2, you have to carve it out. And 3, make it accessible at some point, in your day. So again, it could be maybe sitting in your car. It could be sitting in the bathroom. I mean, hey, right? The bathroom might be the quietest place in the house, but 5 minutes of just taking either quiet time. There's a lot of things you can do in those 5 minutes, but take the time. So there has to be a want, and then there has to be the action step to do it.
Yes, it has to be a want and action steps to do it. And if you are in the mindset of those action steps, and if you are in the mindset of I need to take care of myself so that I can be better to everyone else, then like she said, you need to start small. And then as as you continue to do it on a weekly basis, what she said on a daily basis, you can gradually move up. And what will happen is that your family will notice that you're trying to do this, and they will allow you that time. I think that's one of the most important things that we think about as moms, is that I need to do this, and I don't know if my family's going to allow me that time. Sometimes children get really selfish, and even our spouses, they get selfish of our time, and they don't think that we need, time to be alone. But just like me right now, I'm sitting in my closet. My children know that I do my shows from my closet. That's why it's called Mommy's Closet. And they don't bother me. They don't come in and, request things or anything like that, because they know that this is my time. But there are certain times where I feel overwhelmed, and we all feel overwhelmed. And it's something very interesting that you mentioned right at the beginning, is that you said when your chakras are out of balance, sometimes you feel kind of anxious. And, for me, because of the type of environment I work in, I've noticed that I've been feeling anxious lately as well. But I think it's also because of all of the stuff that I'm doing. So now when we talk about chakra, how does that work, or how do you now incorporate crystals into that? So now we know what to do to kind of help us start balancing our chakra. Now, how do we bring in crystals? Because that's a whole different level.
It is. And so even to balance the chakras, there's I could kind of go on and on about it, but to balance the chakras, there are a few ways to do that. So one, to balance your chakras, people can go to, this is if you're going to leave, not self-care, but you can actually go and receive a Reiki treatment or an energy treatment. And, it gets very skewed right now, because people will say, as a Reiki master that I am, people will say, I want to get my chakras balanced. And it's really the same thing. Chakra balancing and Reiki are exactly the same thing. So if you want to actually go get a treatment, if you have the luxury to do that, which not all busy moms do, you can actually go to a Reiki practitioner, and the Reiki practitioner you will receive a Reiki healing treatment and work on the chakras, because it always works on the chakras physically, emotionally, and spiritually, because the chakras hold all those parts of us. And so that is something you can receive. You yourself, you may not always know what chakras are balanced or unbalanced, but it's more about making that time to be in a peaceful state and allow yourself to have a practice. So I guess it's kind of interesting as we talk about this, because a regular person, an everyday person, isn't going to know what chakras are balanced or unbalanced, but they're going to know they're overwhelmed. They're going to know they're stressed out and they feel not so good. So it's more about creating that daily routine. And like you just said, and we were just speaking about, creating those routines to rebalance our body and rebalance our energy. And in general, that will help us rebalance our chakras if we can't go to, a practitioner.
Okay. So now, how do we fit crystal work into that? Or do they even go together? So, that's the question. Do they even go together?
Well, crystal work crystals are another tool. So anybody can work with crystals just on a regular basis to help them. So I'll give you an example. You can work with crystals and your chakras. And if you know the chakras and you're familiar with the 7 chakra layout, you can get different crystals to work on those chakras. So if you are familiar with what the chakras are, where the chakras are located, you can get each crystal, and they're more like stones, I would say, and then place them on the body. So let's say you want to do a self-healing for yourself. You can lay down, you have to know where your chakras are, and then get a particular crystal for each chakra and just kind of place it on the body. And it'll look like what they call laying on of stones. You lay down and you place each stone on the appropriate spot. You may lay there for 5 minutes. The crystals themselves enhance the chakras. You're relaxing. You're allowing yourself to find some peace, to find some clarity. You're allowing your, sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system to relax as well.
I want to thank you so much for being on Mommy's Closet. And to my audience, you know where to find Miss Tina Conroy. She is here for your Reiki. She is here for your to clear out your chakras and teach you how to do that. Also teach you how to use and work with crystals. She is here for it all. So if you have been thinking about kind of going that route and changing your environment and changing what's going on in your life, please reach out to her. Check out her website. Check out her podcast. And I will see you next week on Mommy's Closet. Peace. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Ereena George. You can also follow me on Facebook at Ereena George. And something new and exciting that I want you to do is check out my brand new show called LuvHer, which is on the CWF Network. That stands for Conversations with Friends Network, over on SoundCloud. Be sure to join my Facebook group, Be My Mythic with Ereena George, or you can join my other Facebook group, I Got Mommy Issues. See you next time.